All right, guys, we got a good one for you today. We've got number 31, Victor, who goes into detail about how he uses his Bitcoin as collateral. He's with me, right? You never, ever sell Bitcoin. You buy it and hold it. And if you can figure out a way to have your Bitcoin pay you a dividend or cash on cash return, that's great too, but never sell it. And make sure you stay tuned until the very end when we get to making Victor his offer of Bitcoin versus Sats. I didn't know how to feel about it. I was a little bit surprised, but then in the end, he gave us an explanation that made it all make sense, and can't wait for you to check it out. Here we go.
Welcome to Sat Chats, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about Sats. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. With Sat Chats, we're building the world's largest Bitcoin welcome center to serve as your gateway to generational wealth. So if you're brand new to Bitcoin, we want to chat about Sats with you. Head to satchats.com. Grab your slot in the studio today. I'm your host, Stuart Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eyes.
And I'll be your co-host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus, proud multi-coiner and Bitcoin smash buyer.
So smash the like and subscribe the same way Chris smash buys Bitcoin. Today we have got Victor, who looks like he's in the studio with us. Same exact wall, hilarious. But he's coming to us from outside San Francisco this morning. Victor has a Bitcoin story that we are going to hear today. But before we do, we would love for all of our Satillionaires out there listening to get to know you a little bit, Victor.
So I'm an immigrant from Ukraine to America. I moved here in 2011, and that was my childhood dream to live in the US, and I'm very happy to live here since. So since I moved, I built business with my business partner without any investments, 7-figure business, and we still growing every year, 55-60% a year. And our business is not related to crypto, but all my investments pretty much related to crypto, Bitcoin and others. And your podcast is about Bitcoin, so I think I can share my story, how I learned about Bitcoin and how I lost almost $1 billion overnight by being stupid. So I think it would be interesting to share with your audience why crypto and Bitcoin is a revolution, not only in finance world, but in many other industries and areas of our life, I would say.
Okay, awesome. So you're actually from the Ukraine.
Yeah, I born in Donetsk in Ukraine, right?
Okay. See, I was on your LinkedIn. I'm like, okay, he went to business school in Moscow.
Yep.
And I thought this guy's definitely Russian. You're Ukrainian, and you came over in 2011.
Yeah, half. So I born in Ukraine, and in 1993, I moved to Russia because Soviet Union collapsed, and it was total mess in Ukraine. It was very hard to do something, and Moscow had way more opportunities. So I went to the university, then I went to a business school, then I started business and ran business for about 10 years, moved here in 2011, right?
Okay, wow. That is wild.
Yeah.
So you have got yourself a Bitcoin story and you feel like it is good for people to learn about, right? So we would love to hear, when did you first hear about Bitcoin and how did you feel the first time you heard about it?
It was in 2012. So it's 13 years ago. It was 3 years as Bitcoin was introduced. And it was at a private dinner in Los Altos Hills. My friend, she invited me for dinner because there was a startup community. And there was a guy who was raising money for his newly founded startup called Coinbase. The guy's name was Brian Armstrong. Nobody knew the guy. I didn't knew the guy. I just moved to the US 1 year. I had $100 grand in my pocket to invest. And I met Brian sitting the round table, Brian in front of me and 5 or 6 more guys, and he pitching Coinbase that this is the future. Bitcoin is the future. Everybody will be trading coins on his Coinbase platform, and he will be making commission. And if I invest in his Coinbase, I will be rich. And if I don't want to invest in his startup, just buy Bitcoin. And Bitcoin at that time was $1. And I just moved from Moscow like 1 year. And in Moscow, we had web money. And I thought of Bitcoin, it's like web money. And I why in the world it will be a big thing? We already have web money. We already had those things. What's the difference? So I was stupid enough not to really dive deep and figure out the difference that time. And I said no to him and no to buying Bitcoin. Oof. Just imagine if I bought just 10 grand of Bitcoin at the time, you forget about this. It would be 10,000 Bitcoins in my wallet. How much it would be right now? I don't know, almost $1 billion.
Yeah.
Anyway, the last stupid thing I did. So after that dinner, Brian sent to everyone he talked to, we exchanged the emails, he created for us what he was doing that time. He created Coinbase account for everyone because he need to show to investors the growth, right? And he sent to everyone 1 Bitcoin.
Wow.
Just as a gift because it was $1. And I was stupid enough, I don't know the guy. I don't need gift from him. I sent it back.
You sent it back to Brian. You sent Bitcoin back to him.
In 2014, on that friend who invited me to that party, she came to my wedding and she gave me a quarter of Bitcoin as a gift. And that time Bitcoin was $250 already. And that time, 2 years later, I realized how stupid I was. And I'm what the heck? I emailed Brian, can you send me back that Bitcoin? And send you back that time. He never replied, of course, he doesn't communicate with stupid people, doesn't have time for that. So, and I waited until Bitcoin went to 900 and I sold that quarter of Bitcoin. And then it took me another probably 4 years, 5 years to realize what is Bitcoin, that you're not supposed to sell Bitcoin pretty much for anything. And I started accumulating Bitcoin and doing crypto. But this was my story, learning about Bitcoin.
That's crazy. So you've met the CEO of Coinbase, Brian, what's his last name?
Armstrong.
Okay. So what's your, not to get into gossip or any tea or anything, but what was your impression of Brian when you met him?
Oh, he was very confident. He knew what he was doing. He had vision. No, due respect. He is a strong leader and he understood what he was doing. It's just me who was blind and short-sighted. But he told us, it was like an informal meeting. It's a dinner. We ate steak, and some snacks and all this stuff, drank wine and, California kind of culture, California environment. Yeah. So I just didn't take it seriously, but he was really for something big. Unfortunately, I didn't really listen for a long time because when I figured out for myself that it's kind of just another web money, I stopped listening. I shut down. I wish I was listening and I would maybe figure out what's the difference between Bitcoin and other electronic payments were available that time. Yeah, he was good.
What is web money? Are you saying that's that's a currency in Russia? What is web money?
Yeah, it was several services introduced in 90s, and here in the US too, it was a gold money, something like that, the name. So it's established the company like PayPal. they had like a protocol, and you can just send them the USD, for example. In Russia, we send rubles, USD, and you have your wallet, like Bitcoin wallet or any other crypto wallet, and in your wallet arrive like a digital form of money, and then you can transfer to another wallet to the guy who has exactly same idea. The difference is Bitcoin is decentralized thing, and that was centralized thing, right? So, and this is what I didn't get it. That was the biggest difference, because for people who watch this podcast, the main thing in Bitcoin, why it's unstoppable, because there is nobody to put in jail, nobody to kill, nobody to fire, nobody to shut down the data center. So the Bitcoin thinks which unstoppable. If I'm not mistaken, there are even one satellite around the earth which support the blockchain. So even if the internet and the power on the planet earth will be shut down completely for 10 years, that computer or computers on that satellite will still keep the ledger of the blockchain until the last transaction before the power and the internet was shut down. And once the internet and power will be on again, let's say in 10 years, right? Apocalyptic future. We will get the last transaction, and the blockchain will be continue operating like it was before. But think about Chase Bank, think about other institutions. They will be all dead in 10 years. So this is how much stronger and more stable the Bitcoin, because of that decentralization. So China tried like for what, 12 years to kill Bitcoin, and Bitcoin moved to Korea, then moved to Europe, to move to the US, and you can't stop it because there is no one centralized center or data center or servers or something which you can just shut down. It's like millions of the computers in the world support it. This is it.
Yes, so that's a really good point, the decentralized nature of Bitcoin. And it took me a while to grasp the fact that this meant Bitcoin was run by consensus. You know, you go from a money that a government can produce and control and add to or subtract from or put a control on top of, or who knows what, to a money that everybody has to agree on. And somebody, I think it might have been number 27, Adam, who was saying that Bitcoin is, you know, basically, to your point, thousands or tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of people each day are voting no to the idea of Bitcoin changing, right? We're all operating the network. None of us want the supply cap to change. None of us want the block time to change. Like, all of us want Bitcoin to stay Bitcoin. And just by being part of this, you know, 20,000 headed Hydra, you know, we can protect our money, we can protect ourselves. And to your point, where if you're a government, where are you going to go to try to get rid of Bitcoin?
If I were a government, I would go where the Trump suggesting to go, to use it as a reserve currency, because this is the real hard money. Because if you compare it to gold and any other things, right, it's very hard to transact. I don't know if you ever had gold. People buy gold. How are you going to store it? So, okay, if you have a small amount, you can store in your home safe, but still it's not safe. You can get robbed, right? So you need to go to the bank, put it in a safe deposit and pay fee for that. Then if you need to sell that gold again, you need to find some broker who can help you sell it, and you pay for transaction fee. Then somehow safely need to carry this gold from where it's stored to the place where you're going to sell it. And so it's all this hustle. People don't do it. Even like billionaires like Mark Cuban and other people say this is like, it's very inconvenient type of store value. But Bitcoin, it's a digital form of gold. So since it has a limited supply, 21 million Bitcoins will be ever mined. So because we don't know how much gold will be mined. It mines some minimum, like limited supply every year, but it's unlimited in the future, right? Plus, Elon Musk finally can find some a way to extract gold from asteroids or something else he will find in space, and then the price of gold can go plummet because there will be so much gold brought from the space on Earth, but not Bitcoin. There is no other way to get more Bitcoins. And this is why I think that suggestion that the Trump made before he became a president, that let's use Bitcoin as a reserve currency, I think this is a really smart way to go for any country, especially for the United States, and for any company. And as we can see, last year in January, the Bitcoin ETF in the US was approved, and look what happened. A lot of institutions jumped onto the wagon because they understood that you can just keep it on your balance sheet and it's keep appreciating, so your earnings appreciating and you're doing freaking nothing. You just have it.
That's just... Victor, what do you, so I love Bitcoin as digital gold, Bitcoin as the best store of value. What do you think about Bitcoin as a medium of exchange initially, today, and out into the future?
I don't see it as a medium of exchange like, for example, XRP or Ethereum or some other coins. What I see for Bitcoin and how I'm using Bitcoin, actually, I bought house when I'm sitting right now last summer by using my Bitcoin in a different way. I use Bitcoin as a collateral. Again, since Bitcoin is a store of value, and we will see more and more cases like that. You don't want to sell Bitcoin because wherever you bought it, it will go up. So wherever you sell, you have a taxable event happens, right? So you sold Bitcoin to buy something. You will pay whatever, how long, if you hold it less than a year, you will pay pretty much your 50% tax, like I pay total tax here in California, state tax and federal tax. Instead of doing this and losing your Bitcoin, what you do, and there is platforms, you put Bitcoin on that platform as a collateral, and you took stable coin instead. And you put this stable coin exchange to USD, put it to the bank, and you make a down payment and you buy whatever you want, house, yacht, whatever. Since Bitcoin appreciates, your collateral is good. You just need to have some extra Bitcoin to add more if the price will go down so you don't get liquidated. You understand what I'm talking? So what I see, the more and more platforms will be like that. The biggest problem I found right now in the market, and if I didn't have a business, I would probably working on this. And you guys, since you kind of crypto-related business, I would suggest to anyone who watched this podcast and for you guys. So if you're interested, what would really work good for the crypto in the future? If you can create decentralized protocol, fully decentralized, so nobody can steal Bitcoin and run away like it happens with Celsius, like it happens with the BlockFi. Remember, they didn't steal, they just got screwed because they over leveraged. They were taking your Bitcoin, they're paying you 6% on that, and then they put this Bitcoin on the decentralized lending protocol and borrow against this, and they just over leverage, and that finally they got screwed. So if you create a decentralized protocol where any person like me, simple person or institution, can put their Bitcoin, right, and get back a stable coin and buy something, so Bitcoin will be used as a collateral. In this case, instead of sitting in their wallets dead and just appreciating, they will start using money from Bitcoin and generate passive income. Otherwise, you need to sell Bitcoin, get cash, and invest in something that produces passive income, because Bitcoin itself produce passive income only in form of appreciation of the value. That's it. So you don't have monthly payment like from rent or from whatever, from providing liquidity to liquid pools. You know what I mean? So I think this is,
Well, that's a common criticism of Bitcoin as part of your, financial investment portfolio is that it doesn't cash flow. It doesn't pay dividends of any kind.
Right.
But you only need cash flow when your cash is quicksand, right?
What do you mean?
If you're operating with a form of money that is losing purchasing power all the time, you need to figure out how to make more money with your money so you have enough money to buy the stuff that you could have bought with the money back when you invested it to try to make more money with it, right? It's an absolute nonsensical swirl of ridiculousness. But with Bitcoin, if I grab some Bitcoin, well, then that's my share of the whole world's economy. And as the whole world's economy gets bigger and bigger and more valuable, I can buy a bigger and bigger share of the stuff out there simply because my Bitcoin's purchasing power has gone up. So do I really need cash flow if I have Bitcoin?
Yes, you need, because I heard this, I think it was from the CEO of Block, formerly Stripe. He said in one of the interviews that, I just sell my Bitcoin and I take money and I spend it, and I use since Bitcoin appreciates and money depreciates, I don't need cash flow. This is kind of one point of view. But you should understand, and if you watch the interview with Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy, CEO of MicroStrategy, he said every Bitcoin which you sold today will cost you $13 million in the future. Just think about that. Even if he's wrong, if it will be just $1 million. So let's say you wanted to buy this watch, right? Let's say you wanted to pay 100K, for example, and you sold one Bitcoin. And in 5 years, Bitcoin will be $500,000. So this watch will cost you $500,000, not 100K. You understand that? You don't want that. You want to take this Bitcoin, give it to some platform, decentralized platform, which not gonna steal this Bitcoin, get sued, go bankrupt. So nothing gonna happen. This is the issue why people not putting Bitcoin on those platforms. Take cash and then invest in something that produce you cash flow and use that cash flow to buy this watch or whatever you want. This is how people do. A lot of people do. If you want to buy Ferrari, you don't buy Ferrari from your hard-earned money, from your income, from your podcast or job or business. You buy from the cash flow. You rent something, you get income coming to you, money coming from out of thin air, for example. I remodeled this house from the income which I was getting from providing liquidity to decentralized protocol PulseX, and they were paying me 50% annual return, annual percentage rate, so I had enough money just to pay contractors and for all the stuff, not from what I'm making from my business. What I'm making from my business, I invest in something that produces more money. This is the way it goes. So you need to take your hard-earned money, put in something that produces passive income, and then spend that passive income, not all, like let's say 80% on whatever you want to buy. This is the way it goes.
Okay. So let me see if I got that right. You're saying take the capital that you have, and I'm going to use the term capital to mean money that you actually have. No funny business, no loans, nothing like that. You take your capital, you put that into something that's going to pay you monthly, right? Just full rich dad, poor dad, Robert T. Kiyosaki style. Let me get a house. Let me charge rent for it. And then you take your cash flow, and that's what you're going to spend on your monthly payments. So you're going to generate monthly payments to yourself, and then you'll take those monthly payments into your own monthly payments. And that way your capital is preserved in some form of investment that you can then, use to power your lifestyle.
Yeah, and Bitcoin, one of the best form of this.
Yeah.
It's just not many protocols right now that you can put for reasonable percentage your Bitcoin as a collateral and borrow money against it. But there is a bunch of platforms decentralized, like PulseX, for example. You can put not Bitcoin, the other coins, provide liquidity and get very good return. And you don't need tenants, you don't pay mortgage, you don't pay association fee, home association fee. You just get free
Property
money
tax.
coming.
Right.
Much better than real estate.
That looks like a Patek Philippe, by the way. Is that right?
It is.
I like that cup too.
And then just the gold goblet coming in from out of the frame. My guy Victor is over here talking about providing liquidity to the market, got his Patek, his gold goblet. So we're getting indications of where this man is in his life right now. So here's what I'll say, dude, because I'm over here in, you know, my pants are from Target, bro. So I have a long way to go is what it looks like. So I am the I am the Sat Chat's Safe Dean Maxi. My book is the Bitcoin Standard. I believe that we should spend money that we have, and it infuriates me that governments are able to get themselves upside down by printing money they don't have and spending it, right? And my big plan for life is to stay humble, stack sats. Every week, I buy some more sats. And over time, I'm betting on that. I'm not even betting because I know it's going to happen. The value of Bitcoin in fiat terms is going to increase. And, let's imagine I have $100,000 worth of Bitcoin right now. Okay. And I'm not going to spend it. I'm going to try to continue to earn fiat currency through this podcast. We've got, Ithaca Hummus sponsoring us. We're open for business in that space. We've got ideas for ad revenue, all this stuff, right? If I can hang on until that 100 grand is worth $1 million, then let's imagine my monthly expenses are $5 grand at that point, right? To power my lifestyle, to pay my mortgage, to continue to buy my pants from Target because, I'm lifting stones, I'm getting bigger, the muscles, they're going up, the quad muscles are getting, I need bigger pants, okay? I could sell off enough sats to generate $5,000 worth of cash. So now I'm at $995K. I pay my lifestyle expenses. Bitcoin continues to go up. And the next time I need it, the value of my Bitcoin is back up to $1 million. I sell another 5,000. And my idea is that I'll sell sats when I need it. And it'll be less and less sats each and every time so that I can have enough Bitcoin to just kind of almost like, it's like the half-life of carbon or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like a organic decay type scenario. But Chris is the Sat Chat's Chad Michael Sailor Maxi. And his favorite thing to do with Bitcoin is to put that sucker up as collateral, pull some silly fiat dollars out of it, spin this little wimbledy-bimbledies that are worthless and they're garbage, and then by the time he needs to pay off the loan, his Bitcoin has increased, all this stuff. So, this it seems like you two are in agreement on what you should do with your Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin's the best collateral ever. I mean, because by the time you get margin called or your loan comes to maturity, it's already increased in value to the, you could re-leverage it if you wanted to.
That's true. Absolutely. The best thing to use. Yeah. And I understand your point of view to sell little by little sats. And I think in 5-10 years, maybe we will be operating not in terms of Bitcoin, because once Bitcoin will reach $1 million, nobody will be talking, okay, I sold Bitcoin. People will be operating in sats, like pennies. Absolutely. Because it will be like something reasonable. Okay, how much is this? People will be saying it's not like half Bitcoin. People will be saying it's like 20 sats, something like that. But yeah, go ahead.
No, Victor. So that was kind of, I'm on the same page with you in terms of today. You would have to be crazy to sell Bitcoin, or you don't understand Bitcoin if you're selling Bitcoin.
Right.
At first, Bitcoin was used as digital cash. You know, people were buying and selling like crazy. People were transacting with Bitcoin. No one thought of it as digital gold like they do today.
Mhm.
But I do wonder, and I don't know the answer, obviously. No one has a crystal ball, but is there some point in the future where people do become more comfortable with the idea of selling and transacting with Bitcoin at scale? Or do you think there's going to be some kind of intermediary in there that you know makes it so that it's not necessary to sell your bit to transact with your Bitcoin?
It's happening already. Some big transactions like real estate, for example. I already saw some advertisement when I was looking for this house. We look at like 75 houses, and some houses the owner preferred to receive the payment in Bitcoin fully, or at least a portion of it would be in Bitcoin. So even though at the banks right now, they don't take as a collateral Bitcoin, but it's going to change pretty soon. But when my lending, for example, agent, she asked me to provide the what are my assets, she asked, yeah, can you send me if you have any crypto? So the banks already accept crypto like Fidelity account or any other investment account. So if you buy a yacht or buy land or buy a business, I think more and more transactions that size, they would be more open to transact in Bitcoin, because it's hard money. It's a more stable currency in terms of value, not like dollars. Dollar depreciated for the last 6 years. I don't know. They print 60% of dollars printed for the last 3 years in circulation right now. It's a 60%. Can you imagine?
Oh,
200. Crazy.
do you know how long the dollar has actually been depreciating, Victor? Not 6 years.
No, it's depreciate since it was it like the First World War, if I'm not mistaken, started depreciating really rapidly.
Dude, it's been depreciating since about 1776, my guy.
Oh my gosh! Right,
when they made this country, that's when
right.
it started depreciating, dude. Unbelievable. So let me get this straight here, because when I jumped on to look at your content, you seem like a big brain finance type who is following regulations, following different cryptos. You know, there's a certain type of person out there who has enough vigilance and interest in the world of finance to get themselves from Ukraine. And for some reason, I always say the Ukraine. I don't know why. From the Ukraine to Russia to America, and now is doing all of this, you know, Patek Philippe gold goblet business that you got going on over there in San Francisco. You know, it seems like the world of putting up Bitcoin for collateral is a little clunky right now. The loan to value terms aren't so hot.
Interest rates high.
But I do know that the current nation state administration, as it were, seems to be spitting out new rules or regulations or various memorandums to try to make this a little bit easier. Do you feel like 2025 will be the year where it becomes very easy for, you know, not a Victor, not a Chris, but like, you know, little old regular me to say, hey, I got 500, you know, I've got half a Bitcoin. Let me go get a little loan for it. You know, like, do you think it's going to get easier this year for plebs like me to try out this whole collateral idea that you're doing?
It's already available, just not in the form of Bitcoin. In the form of Bitcoin, maybe, I don't know. It takes time to develop something like that, especially if we're talking about decentralized thing. Yeah, there are a bunch of centralized things you can put your Bitcoin, like Coinbase. You can put Bitcoin and you can get something from it, or Kraken. But this is all centralized thing which can be shut down tomorrow for one or another reason. And you don't want to put your Bitcoin in anything which is centralized, right? Because it's against the idea of decentralized network and cryptocurrencies. But there are several protocols, and the protocol I've been using, and I can share with you, it's a liquid loans. So I swap my Bitcoin to other currency, and this is completely decentralized, and I put on liquid loans. And the liquid loans, what they do, they give you USDL, it's a stable coin, and they charge only one-time fee. I paid 0.5%, less than percent, 0.5% once when they initiate the loan. And I took cash and I paid down payment. And you can repay anytime or never. You don't have to. There is no interest, you pay in monthly.
Whoa.
That protocol was introduced a year ago, liquid loans. Check this out. This is based on this new network which was built 2 years ago, Pulse Chain. It's an Ethereum fork from Ethereum. It's a great protocol. If you wanted to borrow money, this is the way it goes. They charge just one-time fee, initiation fee, and plus they take $200 in case you get liquidated, so they can, yeah. I don't want to go into technical details. I have a video on my podcast, The Contributors. If you're interested, you can find the liquid loans, how to put your money there, how to borrow against your crypto. It's a really cool stuff. And this is how I was able to borrow money and buy this house and then just pay back and get back my Bitcoin. This is it. Very simple.
So instead of going to some of those platforms like Ledin, for example, that will take your Bitcoin and issue you some USD, you're taking your Bitcoin, and this is a really good point, by the way. Bitcoin is decentralized. It's one of the biggest things that make it different from web money, for example, in Russia, or the US dollar, for goodness sakes. I mean, talk about a centralized currency. But instead of taking your decentralized Bitcoin to a centralized lender, you're going to go to the world of crypto and you're going to say, okay, here's my Bitcoin. Let me grab some crypto in return, and I'll take that crypto and either convert it into US dollars, or I think you almost said like a USD stable coin, which I don't fully understand myself. But you know, you're instead of going Bitcoin to cash, you're going Bitcoin to crypto to item that you want to purchase.
Right.
And then you just need to pay down your crypto loan for them to then return the Bitcoin to you.
Right.
Wow.
I got to look into liquid loan.
Okay. So my pristine collateral guy over here, his mind is on fire. Personally, Victor, I'm more of that Tigran Petrosian type. If I'm going to make a move on the chessboard, I want to make sure it's supported by 3 other pieces. I may not win the game, but you won't beat me, right? The worst that will happen to me is a draw. You know, when you talk about when you talk about, you know, putting your Bitcoin as collateral to get a loan, that feels like I'm throwing my queen way out on the far side of the board with no protection. I mean, how do you feel? How are you comfortable? I mean, leveraging yourself in that way?
Good question.
Yeah, this is a good question, and this is a question everybody who holds Bitcoin ask. Should I really take a risk? Can I trust this platform? This is why I'm telling you that if somebody who created this platform really decentralized, it really doesn't require any trust. So you understand there is no admin key, nobody can hack it, nobody do anything. Then it would happen. I don't feel comfortable. I trusted liquid loans because it's a fully decentralized and the third parties tested this platform. There is no admin key, nothing can be changed. So nobody can run away with my money. So I swap Bitcoin and I put it there. But I would never put my money to BlockFi or Celsius or any other centralized lending protocols where you can put your Bitcoin and then get money back. Because what happened with all these people who put their money on Celsius and BlockFi, the money is gone. I heard they're paying something right now, but I don't know how many people really got back their Bitcoin or Ethereum. It's a very risky, and I wouldn't go this way. So stay away from centralized thing. If it's a little bit centralized, just forget about it. Just keep it on your cold storage, okay? And enjoy appreciation.
So even the tiniest bit centralized, nope, run away from it. See you.
No.
It must be fully decentralized. Wow.
Because you can be a good guy who's found it, but you can somebody on your team who will be crooked, and you don't know about that, and that guy can have access. It happened with several protocols. So the founders, they were honest guys, but somebody on the development side, software development side, had access, had the key, and they just sniffed the money from the account, and that's it. So this is what centralized thing can cost you, all your Bitcoin.
Wow. So let's recap today's conversation, because it's been very interesting for me to try to follow along with Victor's big brain, finance world, collateral insanity. Chris has been literally drinking it up with a big straw this whole time, dude. He ate it up. He left no crumbs. But let's talk about Victor's story here. Born in the Ukraine, fall of the Soviet Union, no opportunity there. Let's get ourselves to Moscow. Might even be pronounced Moscow. Which one is it, Victor?
Correct.
Moscow?
Correct.
All right, Moscow. I gotta eliminate Moscow out of my. So went to Moscow, got himself some opportunity, got himself some degrees, studied business, made it over to the United States in 2011. Where in short order, he met Brian Armstrong, who was pitching Coinbase at that time. Not even was a thing, but was pitching Coinbase. And we're going to thank Victor in advance, because after this podcast, he's going to text Brian and he's going to have Brian come on this show, and he's going to have Brian send us our one Bitcoin as well, which is going to be great. But Victor was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what this Coinbase thing is. I don't know what this Bitcoin thing is. I don't know why you set up an account for me. I don't know why you sent me one Bitcoin. Take your Bitcoin back, Brian. and with $100K in his pocket to invest, if he had just spent 10 grand on Bitcoin when it was $1, then he would have 10,000 times 100,000 dollars, which is
1 billion.
Which is 1 billion.
Yes,
they would have a 1 billion dollar. But just like all of us, I mean, except for number 16 Miles and number 27 Adam, just like the rest of us, the first time we saw Bitcoin, we didn't get it. We did not understand it. So Victor continued along. He was working hard in the U.S. He gets a quarter Bitcoin from his buddy for a wedding gift. And I think it was at 250, sells it for 900. Basically, it took a little while for Victor to realize what Bitcoin actually was. And one of the big things for Victor is that it is decentralized, which means it cannot be got by any single entity. And I think Victor also had a nice message about the resilience of Bitcoin. Were the world to fully flip the power switch, there are still satellites that can continue preserving the record of all Bitcoin transactions. And, you know, it's apocalypse proof. Really, Bitcoin is apocalypse proof. So Victor went through and is a very enterprising fellow, got himself some Bitcoin, also understands the world of crypto, and has pushed past Stewart's Safety, Maxi, Stack Sats, and then Save Sats, and then when you need to spend Sats into Bitcoin as pristine collateral, Bitcoin with the liquid loans. Take your Bitcoin, get some crypto, come over here, get yourself a house, put some wood paneling up that looks just like ours, and bust out all this excellent content. So for me, I think our Bitcoin beginners are going to take away from this episode the idea that if they stay humble long enough if they stack sats long enough, if they keep learning about Bitcoin, they can reach a point where Bitcoin becomes pristine collateral for them that they can use to fund their lifestyle without selling their Bitcoin. That one's still, I'm that bridge still, I don't want to put my weight on it. But Chris over here, he's already on liquid loans. So before we move into your offer, Victor, where can we send our satillionaires? If they want to go from the beginner slopes here at Sat Chats to this world that you've introduced us to, how can they find you? How can they follow you? How can they engage with you?
The easiest way to find me, just go on YouTube and find the YouTube channel, The Contributors. The Contributors.
Okay.
So I record a video every week and I post short videos every day. And I have a bunch of videos about how to make money from crypto. And again, guys, all my advices, it's not like I'm promoting somebody. I didn't get paid for anything I talk today, okay? So I'm just trying I put my own money to things which I know that my principle I put there will be safe 100%. And this is the only thing I ever talk on my YouTube channel, on my podcast. So it's proven that it's not going to be stolen or something like that, okay? Even though it's not financial advice, that if you want to learn more about crypto, Bitcoin, investments, passive income and all this stuff, how to build your business in the US particularly, check out The Contributors podcast on YouTube.
Okay, that's fantastic. So
I just subscribed. So
Chris is gonna slurp up all the Bitcoin as collateral content on your channel here, Victor. So The Contributors on YouTube, that's like contribution for everybody listening.
Right.
For my dad listening on his walk, contribution, The Contributors. So you decided that you would like to try everything bagel. So I'm gonna be your surrogate here in the studio for this everything bagel hummus. And if you're ever in Raleigh, Victor, we ask all of our guests to come back on in 9 months to give us an update on their Bitcoin baby. So would you be willing to come back on the show in 9 months?
Why not? Because we can discuss if there is any protocols which you can trust and put your Bitcoin happen. Because I constantly monitoring this thing because I still have Bitcoin which is not allocated to any platform. It doesn't produce any passive income, and I'm looking constantly every day. Maybe there's some platform I can try. Why not? Let's do it.
I love that.
Me
so
too.
yeah,
Me
Victor's
too.
going to give us an update on the world of buy, borrow, die with your Bitcoin. So I've got a fat glob of everything bagel hummus here. This thing is like a DQ Blizzard, bro. Look at that, the upside down test.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So here we go. Cheers, Victor.
Cheers, guys.
It's so good.
Yeah. It's available at Whole Foods out by you, Victor, in Northern California.
Yeah, I love Whole Foods. This is a very good store.
And that everything bagel has got some I don't know if it's like a fennel flavor or what's that like? What are the spice or what's the flavor on the outside of an everything bagel that's coming into this thing?
Yeah, you got the dried onion.
Okay.
You've got the roasted garlic. Obviously some poppy seeds in there. Yeah, pretty complex flavor profile, but simple at the same time.
So we hope you'll get some. It's very tasty.
It's super good. Yeah.
What's the brand of this hummus?
It's called Ithaca Hummus. It's in a square container. Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So Chris is the guy that started it.
Wow.
That's his company.
Wow.
So don't buy hummus from companies that are run by fiat clowns who love their silly slips of paper.
Yeah.
Buy hummus from a Bitcoiner. You're a Bitcoiner. Yep. Buy hummus from a Bitcoiner, right?
Plus, it's the best hummus, so we make it easy for you.
Ithaca hummus, all right?
Hummus.
Buy the dip. Right, Victor? You know it. You already know it.
Buy the dip. Yeah.
Buy the dip.
You should use this slogan actually. Buy the dip.
Yeah.
Ithaca Hummus. This is great slogan actually. You know,
Stuart
this is
came up with that one. Yeah.
to
Chris,
target crypto community. It will be viral. Until
that's gonna be our messaging for the Bitcoin community. When we're advertising, buy the dip.
Buy the dip.
All right, so let's see if Victor is ready to stack this dip with us here today.
Yeah. So Victor, on Sat Chats, we believe in providing value for the value that you provided us and our audience today. So you're actually the first of our guests to be offered the choice of $50 in USD or $50 in Sats, but for the first time, we've got this nice $50 bill framed. Wow. I figured we might as well go ahead and frame it in glass since no one ever wants it. It's kind of back here in the Fiat Museum.
And actually, I can hold it now since it's in a protective case, which is nice. And it you know, it looks like a museum artifact from an ancient age, which is actually what it is. So we like that.
All right, so you got the choice between $50 US or $50 in Sats, and I've got the Clark Moody Bitcoin dashboard pulled up behind me here. And right now, at the time of recording, one Bitcoin is $90,010, which equals $1,111 per sat. Okay, so I'm going to multiply 1111 times.
Well, 1,111 sats per dollar times 50.
That's 55,550 sats, or 50 USD.
All right, so let's put them together here. So $50, which will likely buy you $20 worth of stuff later, or 55,550 sats that you can swoosh up to liquid loans and get yourself some Lamborghinis with later.
What would I choose?
Which one do you want?
I would take just as a gift, as a memory of this podcast, to be honest, this $50 in the frame, just to put it on the wall, just to commemorate. Yeah.
Okay. So you want the $50 because you like that it's in the frame.
Yeah, it looks great. I can put on my wall in my office, you know, and just every time I look at this, I will remember you guys. This is just memory which worth more than $50, okay?
I like that. So here's what we'll do. Chris and I will take a Sharpie too. We'll sign the glass for you, and you can put it in your studio so that everybody that's watching your content can get a little bit of love from the guys over here at Sat Chats.
Yeah, this is more than $50. This is memories. You know, it's priceless.
Done.
I love it.
Good deal.
Man, next we're going to have to put his phone in this dang frame to help people realize that you should be stacking the sats, Victor. So, everybody, if you made it this far, exchange your value for our value. Hit that like, hit that subscribe on YouTube. Give us 5 stars on Spotify. Help us get to 999 plus 1 subscribers on YouTube so that we can unlock a live show Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern for you. Victor will be in the chat from outside San Francisco, hitting us with all the latest in the Bitcoin and crypto regulation and lending space. We're going to have a great time in there. Put in the comments below whether you like Victor's choice of the framed $50 bill or whether he should have stacked 55,550 sats. Mm-hmm. And remember, Sat Chats is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. Also, our guests' views are their own. Thanks so much for watching and listening today, Satillionaires. We'll see you on the next one.